In a small, quiet village surrounded by rolling hills and a crystal-clear river, lived a young woman named Arya. Known for her unwavering kindness, she carried a heavy heart burdened by years of struggle. Life had been far from easy for her. Orphaned at a young age, she was raised by her loving grandmother, who instilled in her the values of resilience and faith. But when Arya turned 18, her grandmother passed away, leaving her entirely alone in the world. Arya inherited her grandmother's small house, a haven of memories, but sustaining herself was a constant battle. She started a modest bakery, pouring her love and creativity into each loaf and pastry. For a while, it seemed like life might improve. But misfortune struck when a larger bakery opened nearby, drawing away her customers. Her business dwindled, leaving her in debt. As if that wasn't enough, a devastating flood swept through the village, destroying her small vegetable garden and taking what little savings she had left. To make matters worse, she discovered that a close friend had betrayed her trust, stealing from her when she needed help the most. Arya often found herself kneeling by her bed at night, tears streaming down her face, asking God why her life seemed to be a series of endless trials. Despite her despair, Arya refused to let go of her faith. She reminded herself of her grandmother's words. Even in the darkest times, God has a plan for you. You may not see it now, but one day you will. She clung to this belief, even when it felt like her prayers went unanswered. One morning, while sweeping the steps of her home, Arya noticed a stranger in the village. He was a tall man with a weathered notebook in hand, wandering as though searching for inspiration. Introducing himself as Ethan, he explained that he was a writer traveling through the countryside, hoping to escape the chaos of the city and find new stories. Drawn to Arya's warm smile despite her evident struggles, Ethan struck up a conversation with her. Over time, the two became friends. Ethan shared his own tales of rejection and failure, confessing that his work had been turned down by countless publishers. Yet, like Arya, he held onto the hope that his struggles were leading to something greater. Their shared experiences bonded them, and Ethan's words often comforted her. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Ethan said, "I believe the struggles we face are just chapters of a bigger story. Maybe we haven't reached the climax yet, but it's coming." His optimism inspired Arya to try again. Together, they brainstormed ways to revive her bakery. Arya decided to bring back her grandmother's old recipes, unique treats that no one else in the village could replicate. Ethan offered to write articles about her bakery and share them on social media, showcasing the charm of her little shop and the love she poured into her work. Months went by, and the bakery began to flourish. Visitors from neighboring villages came to taste Arya's creations, drawn by the heartfelt stories Ethan wrote about her journey. With the newfound success, Arya began setting aside part of her income to help others in the village who were struggling. She realized that her hardships had given her a deeper empathy for those in need. One day, Ethan received an unexpected email from a publishing house. They had come across his stories about Arya and were eager to publish them as a book. Titled, "God Had a Plan for You," the book would tell the tale of Arya's resilience and faith. When Ethan shared the news, Arya was overwhelmed. She hesitated at first, unsure if her life was worth telling. But Ethan reminded her that her story could inspire countless others. As the book came together, Arya reflected on her journey. She began to see her struggles in a new light. The loss of her bakery had taught her to innovate. The flood had pushed her to rebuild with greater determination. The betrayal had opened her eyes to the value of true friendship. Each challenge had shaped her into the person she was becoming. At the book launch, held in the village square, Arya stood before a crowd of supporters. Her voice trembled with emotion as she spoke. Life often feels like a puzzle, and we rarely see the full picture until the pieces come together. I thought I was forgotten, but now I know God had a plan for me, just as He has for each of you. Don't lose faith, even when the path is hard. Trust that there's something greater waiting for you. Her words resonated deeply with everyone present, many of whom had witnessed her struggles firsthand. Inspired by her journey, others in the village began sharing their own stories of resilience, creating a sense of unity and hope. In the following months, Arya and Ethan worked together to open a community center in the village. It became a place where people could share their burdens, learn new skills, and find support. Arya's bakery continued to thrive, but she never let her success change her. She remained humble, always attributing her journey to the divine plan she had once doubted. Looking back, Arya realized that her faith had been the one constant in her life. Through every trial, she had been guided by an unseen hand, shaping her destiny in ways she could never have imagined. And now, she was certain of one thing. God had a plan for her, and it was more beautiful than she could have ever dreamed.